Hello and welcome to another AIC video. About a year and a half ago, I bought a Royal Enfield Classic 350, and as much as I love that bike, it has one shortcoming, and that is it does not do highways. So I've been looking for a bike to, or I had been looking for a bike to upgrade to, and I was kind of looking at the 650 Royal Enfields and was going to wait for a classic 650, which wasn't going to come here to the United States. They still haven't seen one in the dealers yet. Now that might just be the dealers near me, but at the time of this recording, I haven't seen one at a dealer. But while I was looking, I got an email from Royal Enfield saying, hey, if you want to buy this bike, enter this lottery to be one of the 7 people in the United States to buy one. And so I entered, and I ended up winning one of the 7 slots. This is a Royal Enfield Shotgun 650, which isn't anything super unique or rare as far as the actual bike goes. However, this is in a special livery of a collaboration they did with the motorcycle brand Icon. You can see that here on the rear fender for their 1000 line of gloves, jackets, etc. And so they made 100 of them for the world. I think 25 stayed in India and the rest were dispersed. They said there were 25 for the Americas. I know that only 7 were coming to the United States. So I have one of 7 here in the US, and it is an absolutely gorgeous motorcycle. Coming up a little bit closer on the paint, you can see that the white is this 3-stage pearl, as is the blue and the gold. The red is not, and I think that difference stands out and looks great. The seat is red, the rear springs are blue. Just overall a very good looking motorcycle. I've already had several people stop to comment on it, and it only has 8 miles on it. That's all I've ridden it so far, but I wanted to do just a quick initial video on impressions of the bike. A couple things about this. One thing that Royal Enfield does amazing is the build of the bike. Everything you touch on this bike just feels like quality. Rear fender, metal. These side panels, metal. Even this cowl around the headlight, metal. There's very, very little plastic on here, which, yes, makes the bike heavier, but it also makes the bike feel better. When you're touching and using the bike, everything you touch just feels like it's of a higher quality material, because it is. Metal is higher quality than most plastics, you know. Now, one thing as far as the shotgun goes, and one of the reasons why I didn't initially look at a shotgun, is the tagline for it is buy custom for custom. And honestly, there's almost nothing custom for a Royal Enfield Shotgun 650 on the market. There just really isn't. And it really is not a quote-unquote for custom by custom bike. I will say, though, that if they had marketed different, I think they would have done, it would be selling or be more popular. There'd be more interest in it, whatever you may want, because it is an excellent bike that is a step up from their classic look. So you have the International, you have the GT, you have now the Classic, the Meteor, the Bear, all based off of the same engines with 2 different kind of frames. The Classic, the Shotgun, and the Super Meteor share the same frame basically, and the other ones share the other frame, the Bear and the International and the GT. But all those other bikes are very much a retro style to them, whereas this, they stepped out of that retro box a little bit, not a ton. There's still some very retro aspects to it. I think the surround around the headlight and the tail light kind of have that throwback of retro to them, but as far as the overall look of the bike, it's that step into the future that I think Royal Enfield needs for those who are not interested in a classic bike. And I think that would have been a better approach to this bike, is that forward-looking aspect, that forward-looking design. Like I said, I have 8 miles on it, so I can't speak too much about the ride or anything. It's definitely very different than my 350 Classic. A couple things just off the bat. You definitely sit more on top of this bike, where with my 350 you kind of sit down more into it, but I did lower the seat on that slightly, and the handlebars a little bit higher. I wouldn't mind if the handlebars on this were raised up like an inch. If they were an inch taller, I'd be more upright in my seating position. You're definitely leaning more forward on this. I'm fat, that's not as comfortable. Maybe I just need to lose some pounds. The pegs, where you put your feet and the brakes and stuff, are actually quite a bit smaller on this than they are on my 350. I actually think I'd want to upgrade those to larger controls. That's partially what I'm used to, but I think it would be more comfortable for me being able to move my feet around for like longer rides or whatever. But this is also more of a sport, I won't say sport focus, but you know, it's more of a sporty bike than my Classic is, and so maybe that would be the deterrent on that, in that aspect. Neutral's harder to find on this than it is on my 350. Like, it took me several tries. It's definitely a much softer feel to it getting it into neutral, but overall not unhappy. Definitely need to put a lot more miles on it. If you have any questions, comments, thoughts, put those down below. I'll do my best to answer those in the coming miles and months. Anyways, thank you for watching, and I hope you have an amazing day.